So today we are doing day 8. In your notes it's labeled 7.5. It's all about percents. So we're going to start by writing a number as a percent. So this is like a decimal or a fraction. To change a decimal or a fraction to a percent, you multiply by 100. So if I tell you to change this to a percent, I think, let me double check before I say it, but I think the calculator will change it for you if you just hit times 100. But let's double check. So if you do 5 ABC button 8 times 100, okay, so it gives you 62 and a half. So you could write 62.5%. That wouldn't be wrong, but more commonly you'd see it as it's written on the board. So you would hit the second, and then do you see where it says like PRB, and then above it says F arrow D? Do you guys see it? Yeah. It's like diagonal from the second button. If you hit that, it will change it from a fraction to a decimal for you. Okay? So I'd prefer your answers for percents in decimal form. If you wrote it as a fraction, I wouldn't. It wouldn't be the end of the world. Yeah, all calculators are a little different. I'm just talking about this guy. Anyone need calculator assistance? What? Yeah, or you can do 5 divided by 8. Actually, you could do one less. If you do 5 divided by 8, that gives you 0.625, and then just jump it over 2 places in your head. That's how I usually do it. But technically, you're just multiplying by 100. Questions? Now, something like this is where I would definitely say don't use your calculator. You do not need the calculator here, okay? All you're doing is jump. So what would it be? 50%. Jump. Yeah, some students just automatically put drop the decimal and put a percent. You would be wrong. You got to jump twice, and then you got to fill in the 0 as a placeholder. Okay? Ooh. 200. Yeah. 200.
I would have never did that.
Boy, what time is it?
I was just kidding.
He's not kidding. He was kidding.
All right, any questions? All right, now we're going the other way. So if I give you the percent and you want to change it to a fraction or a decimal, you have to divide by 100. Okay, so I'm going to show you and then I'm going to tell you. So divide by 100 gives you both of these. Now, the easiest way to do it, to make it a fraction, is just put it over 100. I wouldn't even write this part. Just plop it on top of 100. Okay? And then to do the decimal, I usually just do the jump trick. So really, I probably wouldn't even touch the calculator for this one. But if you like the calculator, if you're like, I just love you, calculator, I got to use you all the time, you can do 13 ABC button 100 and then the F arrow D thing, and it will go back and forth for you. Okay? 52%. 0.52 or 52 over 100. However, you have to simplify. They're both even numbers, so you could divide by 2. They're both divisible by 4, right?
No.
They are not both divisible by 8, so let's go with 4. So 13 over 25. Good. And then the the decimal is easy, just the 2 jumps.
Is this our last chapter thing for this year?
No, we have one more chapter after this. But it's like a half chapter.
Is it easy?
I hope it's easy.
Now what?
For this one.
Yeah, so for a decimal, you can still do the jump trick, 1.2. For the fraction, you do it the same way. I would cross the zeros out and then just reduce 12 over 5. Remember, we prefer improper fractions. You don't see a lot of mixed numbers. All right, and then there you go. 1.2, like we said, the 2
So
jumps.
we could do like on a 10. We could just do either one. It don't matter.
It'll tell you which one I want,
Okay.
or both. There's always like answer blanks, so there'll probably be 2 answer blanks. 7. What?
0.07.
I was just saying that. Dang. You're aggressive for it.
All right, how do I write that as a fraction? Yeah, just put it over 100. Okay, and then what is it as a decimal? 0.07. Don't forget the 0.
Wow.
Okay? Now, we are going to... I am going to show you the other way first. So there's really 2 pretty popular ways to do these types of problems. And we'll go over both. So first I want you to take this and just write an equation. Using the same old tricks we know. Is your equal sign, of means multiply. Change decimals, change percents to decimals. Okay? So 8 is 8 equals 0.2 times what? X. Yes. So we're going to let X equal a number and then just read it as you go. 8 is my equal sign. Change this to a decimal. What number is my X? And then you just solve it from there. I think this way is a lot easier than the cross-multiplying way, but we will go through a few of those as well. Any questions?
No.
9.2% of 180 is what number?
17.
You mean 17? That's not what he
I
said.
said 17.
Okay, how do I write this?
He said 17.
17?
17?
17? What?
I don't know. I said
0.09. Well, first you gotta let X equal a number. 0.092 of means multiply. 180 is my equal sign. What number is my X?
16.56.
Really? You guessed and you guessed 17? That was really close, but we're not gonna round to the nearest whole number. Keep 2 decimal places. I'm impressed. Okay, what percent of 45 is 7.2?
45x equals 7.6.
Okay, so you said to use an X. I don't disagree. X is great. When you get your answer and you're finding what percent, it will be as a decimal and you have to do the jumps. So I usually use a P when I'm trying to find the percent just to remind myself to do the jumps at the end. If you use an X, that's fine too, okay? So yes, you are correct. She said 45x. It's written on the board as P times 45. Same thing. A variable times 45. Then is my equal sign. Then the 7.2. How do I get the P by itself? Divide. 7.2 divided by 45 is... Okay, now that's my answer as a decimal, but I want my answer as a percent. So 16% is the answer. Don't forget. That's why I use the P to remind myself.
Stop.
We're not going to do the whole lesson.
Oh no. Look how long this is.
Okay, now, this is the other way that I think you were asking about. Are these cross-multiplying problems? They can be. So there is another way to set these up. And it's to use this, okay? So I always say it's the is over of equals percent over 100 or the part whole percent 100. The tricky thing is similar to what we were doing yesterday where we would put like liters over kilometers or gallons over miles or flour pounds over cookies baked or whatever. It's the same thing here, okay? The original amount is 100. 100% is always your original or your starting point or your whole thing. And then whatever amount you put over here, the corresponding percent goes over here. So we're talking about boys. You need the number of boys over the percent of boys. Or sorry, the number of boys on top, the percent of boys on the bottom. Original 100, okay? Or if you're talking about the amount paid, over here you'd have the percent paid. Or the amount of an increase, here would be the percent of an increase. So whatever you're talking about, whatever the part is, the part that's the percent goes on top, and the amount that you're talking about, that's the part goes on top. Whole thing goes on the bottom. 100% is the percent as a whole, so that goes on the bottom. Does that make sense? You could use this for all those problems we just did. But I think the equation is easier. So, there you go. But here we're going to use the cross-multiplying approach. So this says, Tim, I'm just reading the problem. I'm not yelling at you. Tim received a rebate of $5 on his CD. This represents 20% of the cost. How much did the CD cost before the rebate? So, part over the original equals percent over 100. Where does this one go?
Tim, what are you doing?
It goes on.
You know what Tim's doing. He's getting a rebate on a CD. That's why he's being so noisy back there. $5 goes on. So the CD originally cost $5. It says find the cost of the CD.
Oh.
So that's the original. We're looking for the original. $5 is the part that he got taken off. And then the percent of the rebate was, and that goes here. Okay? So part over original, percent over 100, the original percent.
Do you have to change your percent to a decimal?
Now here, very good question, here we don't change the percent to a decimal because it's already part of a it's already over 100. It's kind of already taken care of. All right, now we can cross multiply. So 20x equals 500.
10.
Did you say 10 or 10?
10.
Tim?
Yes.
He's excited about his rebate.
$25.
$25 for a CD? This is clearly before iTunes.
Why would you buy a CD for $25?
That's how much they cost back in the day.
You don't got big game.
But I do.
All right.
I bought a CD
Hey.
for $25.
Okay, I really hope the next question is not about Tim.
I hope so.
Any questions for Tim?
It don't have any names.
Anybody got any questions?
Anybody have any questions about the rebate process?
Anyone?
Tim, do you have?
All right, here we go. 13% of 200 people were at the game Friday. How many people were not at the game?
Tim wasn't.
Okay, so we want the original. So how many people are we talking about?
26.
200 people.
Tim, if you do not stop with
Quiet. Now, I am going to put up here the number not at the game. So that means over here, I need the percent not at the game. So if 13% were at the game, that means that 87 were not at the game. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. So 100 times x
It's 100.
equals 200 times 87. Divide by 100. There were 174 people not at the game.
I gotta do that twice.
So this is like if you're at a store buying something. So the original price is $18, but you're going to get a 25% discount. Okay? So the original price goes on the bottom. The price paid is what we're going to put on the top. So if you're getting a 25% discount, how much are you paying?
25% is that.
You are paying 75% of the price. Very similar to the last one. If they're going to take 25% of the price off, you're paying 75% of the original price. So if we set it up this way, when we cross multiply, that will give us the amount we paid. The alternative way to do this would be to put the 25 here and subtract that amount from the original price. This way is a little bit easier, okay?
Can you simplify them first? Do 18 times 3 and 4 times
If you want, you should get the same answer. All right, now, if it asks you for the discount, the price of the discount, you can just take the original, subtract what you paid. That gives you the discount. Most of the time, what you're interested in, though, is how much you paid. So figure out the percent that you paid. Use that here. That'll give you the amount that you paid over here. Okay? Any questions?